Welcome back, Misfits. I am back. And I'm in a whole nother angle. I'm just here to deliver the information. I'm not all about the animations, okay? That's a bar. I am your Scrum job coach, your brand coach, and just your overall unapologetic girl in IT, also known as the Tech Misfit. Let's get into this video. Okay. All about Scrum ceremonies, like I said, what they're like for me. Keep in mind these change for every job, or should I say company. Every team is totally different. When I first got into my role, I was thinking like, oh, Scrum, my team is gonna be full sprints, we're gonna be doing sprint planning, and boom, I was given a Kanban team, which we'll get into it in a whole nother video. But I was given a Kanban team and things got shaken up, and I had to learn how to do that first. Let's start with the basic Scrum ceremonies. Before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for almost 700 followers. My last video, we were a little over 500. Now I'm almost at 700 followers. Like, whatever y'all doing, keep doing it. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of the emails, all the DMs, all the LinkedIn requests. But let's get into this video, Scrum ceremonies. Okay. So, the first ceremony that you will most likely be starting your day with is the stand-up. The daily stand-up is when Scrum Master, PO, and the development team all come together and talk about what was done yesterday, what will be done today, and if the team has any blockers. The Scrum Master and the product owner, when I say PO, I mean product owner, does not have to be there. Really, this is for the dev team to communicate, be transparent with each other about what they're doing, where they are on any tickets or any work that they're doing. At teams, we open up stand-up with the Jira board. We talk about whether they are done with a ticket, whether they're almost there, whether they need a peer review or a code review. These are the type of things that they talk about. I am working right now. My other Scrum Master friends, they typically maybe facilitating stand-up. So like I have two teams. One team I am facilitating stand-up. The other team, they pretty much self-organize and are able to run stand-up on their own. Your job is to make sure your team is self-organizing and that they can do Scrum ceremonies alone without you. Why not be able to do this ceremony yourselves if y'all talking about y'all work? You know what I'm saying? I usually do like a fun question to get everybody going in the morning, like a question of the day. What's your favorite pizza topping? Or if you were an app, what app would you be? These are the type of questions that I ask just to have some positive vibes in the morning, and to get going after stand-up. The next Scrum ceremony that you will be doing, facilitating, attending as a Scrum Master is Refinement. Some people call it grooming, and this can also be sprint planning in a sense. So with a Kanban team, we would call this meeting Refinement. And what we're doing in Refinement is, well, you know what? My fellow Scrum Masters, drop in the chat or drop in the comments and tell me how you use Refinement and how you use sprint planning. These are two different ceremonies, but because I have a Kanban team, I don't do sprint planning. We do Refinement, and then with my Scrum team, we do sprint planning and Refinement. So they're not the same, but you can get some things mixed up in these two. So let me make it clear. Refinement is where the team comes together and they basically are building the tickets out of work. So they are making sure that the user stories pretty much go over all the things that are required. They point the tickets in Refinement, groom these tickets, and make sure they're clear for when the dev wants to pick it up in the sprint. Sprint planning in particular is going to be the team picking what tickets they want to work on for the sprint. So refining is done, grooming is done. We know what these tickets are all about. We know how much these tickets are worth or how large or small they are. Now we actually want to see what we can handle in this sprint. You're going to rely on things like velocity to plan your sprint. We can get into all these technicals later, or if you want to ask questions in the comments, feel free. I will definitely answer them for you. I just don't want this video to be super long about the little itty bitty things. But anyway, you are going to basically help your team put what tickets they've already refined into the sprint. We're going to make sure everybody is comfortable with what's in the sprint and everybody has work. Okay. And maybe a little drizzle of refinement. You know, you may find yourself refining in the sprint planning. And that's sometimes what happens with my team. Sometimes we pick up a ticket and we're like, okay, wait a minute, this not really what, okay, let's go ahead and add this. Or you may even be repointing a ticket, which is supposed to be forbidden, but all teams are different. The rules are flexible, they are agile, and your team should always be ready for change when it comes to the work. The sprint would kind of be a ceremony. Ask different scrum masters and seniors and all these different people. Sprint is gonna be your 2-week cadence. Some people do a week. This all depends on the team. But my teams do, well, one of my teams, they do a 2-week sprint. And so in this, they are working, they are code reviewing, they are QAing, they're trying to make sure that all of these tickets reach the definition of done. And the definition of done is whatever the team has decided how a ticket is done, period. The next sprint ceremony or scrum ceremony is retro. I've talked about retro in one of my other videos and some of the tools that I use for retro. This is kind of the ceremony where you shine as a scrum master. Okay, you're supposed to make this super fun, super engaging, so the team feels comfortable to communicate with each other about the issues that they may have had in the sprint, whether that's personally, whether it's professionally, whether it's with one another. The team is supposed to feel super comfortable in this sacred space. And I mean sacred, I mean like what's done in retro don't lead a retro. This is a ceremony where you don't want to invite outsiders. You don't want to invite IT managers. This is strictly you and the team. The PO can be included. And this is where they talk about what went well during the full 2-week sprint. What went wrong? What can we do better? If it's something that you may have identified in the sprint that you want to talk about as a scrum master, maybe you want to make that into a question so that you can get some team feedback. So I also put some type of area where the team can give each other compliments and shout outs. So this is where you really want the team to be engaged. You want them to have fun. I always play a little music in the background of my retros while they are filling out the retro questions. And we have an icebreaker, and we just try to make sure that we are in the sprint in good vibes, and then we're going on into the next sprint in good vibes. This is your time to shine as a scrum master. The last scrum, I keep on wanting to say sprint ceremony. The last scrum ceremony is going to be your sprint review. So this is where you may have some stakeholders or people from business, IT managers, your PO, the scrum master, and the dev team all together, where we talk about what increment was done in the full sprint. Was that sprint goal that we made in the sprint, which is also done in sprint planning, I did not say that. Was that sprint goal completed? What was done? What piece or what increment do we have done that we can actually demo to the stakeholders or to the business that has requested this work? You want to make sure that this meeting goes well. You want to make sure it's time boxed, as well as all the other ceremonies. We don't want stakeholders to be talking about other requirements. We want to make sure we talking about what was done, okay? What was done, how it was done, and how it looked, okay? You want to make sure your team is protected from any extra necessities, especially when it comes from IT managers and business. This may be a ceremony that your PO is the superstar in. But typically this is also the last ceremony of the sprint in total, or it could be retro. It just depends. Like I said, my Kanban team, we don't even have a sprint review. We just maybe have a demo. So this changes from team to team, from company to company. But these are some of the things that are like by the book. And then I splashed in a little bit of like what my team does and just my opinions around each ceremony. But I'm hella open to my other fellow Scrum Masters that are here to give me some tips. And I'm open to seeing what you guys have read online and what your interpretations are of each ceremony, and if I done this correctly or was able to give you the information in just like a cool ass way. Because that's what I'm trying to do. That's the goal of this channel. Yeah, give me some more video ideas. Again, thank you for almost 700 subscribers. I'm going to get back to work. I hope you guys are having a great day. My email email, and my LinkedIn is below. Let's connect and make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and engage with me in the comments. Talk to you later.